Hi everyone, it's Cathy with City Farmhouse. Welcome back to my little knitting room at City Farmhouse Studio. Donut's on the table beside me, keeping me company, so you may see him. It is October 11th, and it is a very fall day in Michigan. It's cold and drizzly, the trees are changing colors. So, I got my weekender cardigan sweater on. It's nice and warm and keeping me all comfy cozy. So, with the winter coming, I'm making little ones some shoes for school. I think I told you all. Her class this year, she started a new school, and her teacher is letting them, I guess on the days where they typically wear snow boots, or our district, they have to wear snow boots and snow pants on the playground. Or if they don't, they can only stay on the blacktop. So they are, when they come into school, they have to take all their winter gear off, including their wet, snow-covered boots, and put tennis shoes on. Well, her teacher is letting her wear slippers, but they have to have hard-soled bottoms. So making her a little something something. And as I'm making them, I'm liking them, so I may make me a little something something. There's Donut. So that is what I'm currently working on, knitting up. I have completed the panel of the crochet piece I was working on last week. Actually, I didn't complete it. I have one more row, and it's the decreases. It's the back panel of a sweater, and it's the decreases at the neck. So you kind of give that little scoop around the back for your neck so it doesn't keep riding up on you. Plus, I want to add a detail around the collar, so I need a little bit extra space. So I need to work one row on this side and one row on this side, and then I'll be done. But it's a lot of counting and a lot of making sure I don't mess up. And it's not one where sitting in front of the TV, you can just mindlessly keep working at it. Just like, talking to you and just knitting. Oh, he's going to go to bed. So that's what I've been working on. I did have 2 days off, somewhat, last week. Friday, the girls did not have school, so it was personal development day, teacher development day for our district. So we just kind of hung out at home. And then Thursday, my parents, who usually watch my 2-year-old niece, were traveling. So I got to watch her. So I hung out with the 2-year-old. And we took the girls to school, and we went to a park and played. And it was fun just watching her. She found a Nerf gun bullet, those little foamy things on the playground, and a barrette, one of the metal snap barrettes that a lot of the old, I remember having them as a kid, but they just kind of put in and you press them down and they snap closed. Well, she found a pink one in the mulch. So she just carried those two things, one in each hand, all through the playground. And she would, tap them and put them together and change hands. And she would climb up the steps with them. She'd go down the slides with them. She dropped the bread at once, and we had to retrace our steps to find the bread. So that was fun. And then I needed to pick up repair part for a plumbing fixture at Home Depot. So I'm like, well, because I'm trying to wear her out so that she'll take a good nap and go to sleep early, because we got to leave a little bit earlier than she's used to go get Red from school. So I wanted to be sure she was down early. So I'm like, well, we'll go to Home Depot. Just as much movement, as much new stimulation and on the go, and tuck her out. So we went to Home Depot, got our part. I was looking also for sewing machine oil, because I've been sewing, and thought, well, maybe Home Depot might have something. I didn't, but we wandered around trying to find that. The whole time she's carrying around a bag of goldfish and just one after another. So it was fun watching her. And then they already have their Christmas decor up. So she was looking at Ho-Ho. And they still have Halloween stuff up. So we had to look at the spookies, the scary spookies. So it just, it took me back to when our girls were little and the amazement and trying to figure out things and the Halloween stuff where they're not quite for sure if it's safe or not. And just all the newness in their eyes. It was fun to be around a 2-year-old again for that long. And just being me, I got big hugs and I love you, Aunt Cathy's, and some kisses, which usually I'm lucky if I get a hug, and usually it's just bye, Aunt Cathy. So I come down on the list when Mom, Dad, Grandma, and Papa are around. So when it was just me, I got all kinds of attention. So that was nice, from little baby hugs. So after Home Depot, we went to the grocery store to pick up lunch, which she did not eat because she filled up on goldfish. And then we took a nap. We both took a nap because she still likes to be carried around, and I'm not used to carrying around a 2-year-old anymore. So I was pooped. She was pooped. We got naps. We picked up the girls, and she was so excited to see them. And then I dropped her off at her dad's work, and I was pooped. But it was a fun day. It's fun hanging out with her. So that was one of my days, and then the girls were off Friday. And then this week I've just been doing a lot of computer work, all the back end stuff of all these applications, just trying to learn, trying to make it better. So not the fun stuff, not the knitting or crochet, but stuff you got to do. Figuring out this pattern, I did do that. So this will be not so much a pattern as a template, because I'm thinking you'll be able to custom make them based on your size, whatever foot. So kids to adults, narrows to wide, whatever, funky feet, because every foot is funky. You can make it fit to you. So that's what I'm thinking. So it's more of a template guide. Oh, and to your own fabric gauge swatch. So whatever you like, whatever yarn you like or have to figure out how much yarn it'll take and see if you can do some stash busting. So speaking of which, this yarn is Bernat Blanket. I think it's 100% polyester. Is it there? Yep. It's one of those fleecy feel, really fuzzy, soft. Kind of reminds me of a feel of a Squishmallow, if you're familiar with those plush pillow things. We see them at the grocery store even here, so they're nice and fuzzy and soft and warm. Well, warm. These will be warm. So she's excited. I'm excited to have a pair. I'm just doing a straight stockinette. So that's what I got going on. We did have a busy weekend again. Friday night we went to the cider mill with little one's school as part of their PTO, FFO, what else? Friends and family, parent, teacher, whatever organization your school has, event to kind of as a community building. So we went there, we had cider and donuts, which I talked about cider and donuts last week, and these were actually good donuts. They weren't warm, but they were still very good. They weren't the greasy, heavy, super cakey, dry things that you get some places. So I was actually surprised I liked the donut. And then what else did we do? They had a bonfire where you could roast s'mores, but we wanted to do the corn maze. before it got dark. So we walked all the way back to this back property and got in a corn maze, which that was the second one I did. And the first one I did was maybe 15 years ago, and it it wasn't all that. It was a kid version of a corn maze, I'll say that. So this one was a full-on big property, or piece of corn that was grown, acreage of corn. And they had all these trails winding through and crisscrossing. And you're supposed to go through and find these 3 wood cutout Christmas trees that had hole punches on them. And then they had a card for you, and you punch your card for each Christmas tree. And then if you got all 3, you could be entered into a sweepstakes. But we wandered and wandered, and it's starting to get a little bit dark, and we could still see. Well, then it starts drizzling rain, and it just keeps coming. And both my husband and I, we knew it was going to be cold, and it was. So we kind of prepared a little bit for that. The girls, of course, still will be fine. I was running outside, and I had to take my hoodie off. I was hot, and I was barely doing anything. So, their version of dress warm is I have some long sleeves on. And so it got cold. It got windy. It started to rain, even though it said it wasn't supposed to rain till later in the night. It started to rain early. So we were wandering around in this corn maze in the dark, because by then it gets dark fast now. People are using their cell phone flashlights to get around and see. And we found one Christmas tree, and we were trying to find another, and we just couldn't find it. And the girls were done. We were done. So we get out, and they have a tractor ride to get you back up front, a hay ride. So we took the hay ride and bumbled up through that in the rain. And they have this really cool general store that's fully decorated for Halloween and all kinds of fall decorations. So it's a neat environment to go into. And of course they have candy bins. So the girls each brought money and bought a little bag of their choice of candy. Red, I think, spent just over $2, and Blondie was over $9. So she's still working on her candy. I don't know if Red finished hers or not, but so it was fun. And after that, we went by this big bonfire and roasted s'mores. And by then, the rain had pretty well started to die down, and it wasn't hard rain. It was just that misty drizzle that not really heavy enough to make you quit, but not really light enough to where you can ignore it. So we had fun. We had our s'mores. I think the girls each had 2 because they had more than people who had shown up, and it was getting late. So they let the girls have 2. And it was fun just hanging out by the bonfire with some people we knew from the school, and the principal was there. So it was nice just building a community at Blondie's new school. And then we had 2 games of soccer, one Saturday, one Sunday. It was not supposed to rain on Saturday, but it drizzled on us again. It was bitterly cold. Prepare for that, and still wasn't enough to block that cold wind. It was that wind that when you look into it, it just makes your eyes water. And of course, we had to sit looking into it for the entire game. So it was a good game. Blondie played well, but again, they lost. It was one of the top teams in the division, and we moved up 2 divisions over the summer because they played so well. And so now they're kind of the bottom tier of the division. And so we're losing a lot of games, but we're not getting smoked. We're at least getting 1 goal, if not, I think 2 on most games. So it's not complete disaster and depression, but it's hard on the girls to consistently be losing every game. But they're getting better, and they're they're playing these good teams that they're seeing why their coach is having them do certain things. They can have examples of, this is why you need to pass, and this is why you go here and there. And when you don't do this, that's how they can score a goal. So it's a great learning opportunity. We have 2 more games this season, so that soccer season just seems to have disappeared super fast. And Red has started her basketball practices, and her first game, actually she has 2 also, is this weekend. So she was super excited last week and thought she had a good team. Well, then this week, I don't know what happened, but apparently practice did not go well, and now she's scared that she's going to have even a worse team than she had last year, so, or be on a worse team. So we'll see how the games go, but it's all time on the ball, time practicing dribbling and playmaking and rebounds and layups and all of that good stuff. So she's taking it as a learning opportunity, if it is not the most skilled team of all the teams. So we'll see how all that goes. So between sports, Blondie's in robotics and programmed her robot to complete one of the missions. The only thing is, every time we run it, it runs just a little bit different on the path. So there's a little bit of trying to figure out why the same program is giving different results. So we'll see how. I think they're going to have some high schoolers come in and help, and maybe those kids that have grown up with this may know what's going on. So that's exciting. She's really loving it and liking the team and having a lot of fun growing in that. And we were trying to find something for Red to do. She's in choir with church, but something else to do. She's very creative, and she was going to do robotics, she said, but we're like, it doesn't, we're not against it, but it kind of felt like she was saying she'd do it because she didn't have any other options. So we started the sewing club at home. So our neighbor, her and I, are sewing. So Red has sewn on her grandmother's sewing machine a little bit, but her grandma always did the foot pedal, so she just guided in, and so it was sewing, but it not fully on her own. So last night I got all my sewing. I have 2. One I got when I graduated high school from my parents, and one of my grandma's old ones. So I got them out, got them both up and running and oiled, and new needles, and checked the alignment of the needle to the bobbin hook and all of that. So everything's good. So we got them up and going and working great. Which I was scared I was going to have to take them in and pay $80 to $100 each to get them tuned and working. But I got it done. So they're up and going. And last night, so a couple weeks ago, we cut out the patterns. The other week I had a migraine, so we weren't doing anything. And so last night we finally got to sew. So they were just got on the machine and had to teach them how to, what the parts were, how to thread the machine correctly, how to pull up the bobbin thread, and just kind of kept going through a little sample till they were comfortable with it. Red got to use the foot pedal on her own. So, and learn, you don't just always pedal to the metal. Go slow and steady. So it was fun watching her get the hang of it. And our neighbor picked it up super fast, and she was off and going in no time. So she's making a skirt from a pattern from the 70s on vintage fabric. So it's turned out cute. So she's excited about that. And Red is making some pajama pants. So she's, um, you know, I had to go back and forth between the two since it was only me and they'd have questions. So, okay, I'd help her one and go to the other. So in between, whenever I was helping our neighbor, Red would just get a book and disappear and read. It's like, hey, are you sewing or not? So she still doesn't like starting or stopping the thread, but otherwise she can get it in, she can go. She learned how to do sew on a curve. So we got to finish sewing the legs to get the side seams on each side and then the waistband and hem them. So, and then for the neighbors, we had to iron some pockets flat before going to a next step. And it was almost 9 o'clock and I was done and not wanting to pull out an iron and everything. So she got what she could without having the iron out. So she has the pocket sewn onto the front and she sewed the back piece where it joins and then it splits for the zipper. So now we need to put the zipper in, sew the front to the back, and then do all the waistband business and then hem. So she has a few more steps, but a lot of it, this 2 side seams won't take anything. So, and then my mom is coming over, so that will help since both of us will be here to help both of them. And I think she's going to do the one with the zipper because it's been a while since I put a zipper in. So we'll let her do that. So that's been our fun here. At some point I got to sew Red's sewing Halloween costume, the Carmen Sandiego coat. Still haven't worked on that. So we'll see how everything goes. And these are about done as well. They may actually be too long for a little foot. I don't know. I'll finish this row and measure them. Tony's still asleep. He'll probably stay in there all day. So, well, I hope everyone is doing well. Thank you all for watching. That means the world to me that people are finding this and clicking on it. So, share what's up with you, what your projects are. I'd love to hear about it. And until next week, I'll talk to you later. Bye.